Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to the LCK Summer 2020. It is me, Valdez, with LS, a.k.a. Larry Seinfeld. We'll go with that one today. Yeah, lost speech. That was too easy. I didn't want to throw you under the bus right from the get-go. Yeah. We wanted to give you a little bit of credit, like the comedian Seinfeld, but you're back. You're feeling a little bit better. Hope that you can make it through today. Hopefully you don't have the same issues as yesterday, and we can make it through today's games. We got some good ones today, LS.
We do, actually. Today is a pretty exciting series of events, and I think that actually both the first and the second series is probably going to have a lot of action. Obviously, Sandbox coming in here as the underdogs against DRX, who are just looking like they're on a tear.
Yeah.
And then we get to have some questions answered in the second series of the night.
Yeah, Gen.G up against, who's that other team that they were playing against? I don't know why I can't remember them. Damwon, that's right. Damwon is, you were talking about being on a tear. DRX is on a tear themselves, but I think Damwon is really the team to look out for here in Summer, as they have proven that already they look super strong. They've played a ton in the offseason. Showmaker obviously hitting first and second on the ladder. And as a team, they're just playing better overall. So definitely a fun matchup to look forward to later on today.
And points of the match, completely bipolar momentum. DRX with 2 wins in a row versus Sandbox with a 0-2 start, 0-4-4 games. And honestly, Sandbox, they are down there with Hanwha Life as one of the teams that are really just at the bottom of the standings. They have a lot of identity issues inside of their gameplay. And in terms of the overly aggressive, heavy responsibility drops, Sandbox, I mean, they take the cake, they eat it too, and then they go for dessert. Not really sure how that one works. But they're going up against DRX, and just imagine that if you try such an approach against them, you're going to find yourself having a lot of problems with the way that their lineup is. And Sandbox is about to literally go through hell as DRX, T1, and
Hellacious. I didn't even know that was a word. Sandbox's hellacious schedule.
Is that a word?
I don't know. If it is, though, that's a pretty cool one. It makes sense, like an adjective describing, hellish or something like that. I think hellish would probably be.
It is.
It is.
Adjective, informal, North American, and we're Americans, so of course we don't know it. Very great, bad, or overwhelming.
Wait, so it can be very great or very bad. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
egregious.
Sick.
Yeah.
Or like Wicked back in the day.
Oh, back in the day.
Well, Wicked was our parents' or our parents' generation for sick. The way that we use sick now to describe stuff.
Okay.
Right? I think they used Wicked. Whatever.
Maybe.
You're completely lost on me. Team stats. DRX has some pretty good ones here. Sandbox.
First Dragon.
They are first in the Dragon percent. First Dragon percent. 75%.
Okay.
Dragon percentage, however, 35.3. So after the first one, things do start to go a little bit unfortunate, perhaps. 88 1.0.
At least it's not below 1.
Yeah.
We can give that to them. But that still places them at 10th, which is obviously bad. Really not great. So DRX, the obvious favorites coming into this one. Sandbox have looked... Fortunately, their woes from spring have continued. They haven't been really looking up too much, whereas on the side of DRX, it feels like they're coming together as a team, and I feel like Byoshik is actually getting better and better the more I watch this jungler, more accustomed to the pro stage, perhaps.
Well, we'll see what kind of champion picks he's going to be on here. Now, LCK is going to be, well, I don't know why I was about to say LCK. As soon as I said that, it popped into my head the thread about blue side that went up on Reddit yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but anyways, DRX is going to be on the blue side. And Sandbox is going to be on the red side. So in theory, they have counter picks available to them. The only area where they're probably going to look to find any success with that would be Summit up in top lane. And we'll see what kind of a matchup is going to actually take place.
Yeah. Sandbox as a whole, I think their bottom lane has been struggling immensely, giving up multiple solo kills so far, and so you can't really look there. Dove Doesn't really look like the same player from when Sandbox came up either. We are going to take a look at the key players here. It is going to be Pioshik up against On Fleek. On Fleek does actually have the highest kill participation out of any jungler in the LCK so far. The other stats, though, not the greatest.
Yeah. This is definitely not a Sia song. As Pioshik, it is very easy for him to play. We do have to remember that, given who his laners are.
Yes.
I mean, you have Chovy in mid lane, who is really looking so clean and stable so far here in the LCK. And obviously, Showmaker has been having a comeuppance again after his fall from grace in spring. On the flip side, we'll see what On Fleek can manage to do, because I imagine that the only way that he's going to find success in this series is actually via coin flips. Pretty much.
Yeah.
As Chovy seems very excited to be talking about something.
Yeah. They're going in-depth about their Monopoly game that they played earlier today. They're like, I don't understand why you would sell Boardwalk to that guy. It gave him an obvious win in this game. I don't know what they're talking about, but obviously very light atmosphere on the side of DRX. Chovy looks like he is...
The polarity here, by the way.
Yeah, it's
between
incredible.
Deft and... Yeah, oh, he heard us.
Look at the other side. I mean, it's like... Man. No happy faces on the side of Sandbox, even for Joker. The now coach of Sandbox.
Yep. We'll see what kind of drafts they can actually have in store for them here today.
Yeah. Gorilla looking at his former Rocks brothers over on KT and actually jealous of KT's position.
The DRX
right now.
jersey,
Yeah.
I say this every time, it's really nice.
Yeah?
It really is.
Why don't you go grab yourself one?
Well, I just can't do that. I don't believe that. I don't think that's, you know.
Are they not for sale?
Are they? I don't know.
I actually...
I don't think there's a store.
I'm not the merchandise guy.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Yeah.
You might
We'll
want to
have
talk
to
to
look
Papa
into
Smithy about that, or Wolf Schroeder. He's another guy who loves
Papa
his-
Smurfy.
Yeah. Papa Spiffy. A couple of times she showed up there on the finals looking real spiffy.
Well,
hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
And we're kind of just chilling, waiting for the game to start. Chovy is still talking about Boardwalk.
He can't get over it, actually. He's like, yeah.
You gave him 4 hotels! 4! I don't even think that's
I don't
possible,
think I've ever seen Chovy so...
Animated?
Yeah, animated right before a match or a series.
Yeah, true.
And maybe he just feels very relaxed coming into this one.
You'd have to imagine so. I mean, to be honest, when I first saw this lineup, I'm like, oh boy, quick 2-0 today, I guess, guys. And that's really the overwhelming thought process for everybody that's here, including DRX.
Yeah.
Really, it's up to the Sandbox players to prove that they're not just going to be walkovers again, but it's incredibly difficult when you're going up against one of the teams in Korea that might be representing us at Worlds.
Yeah. And... yeah, he wanted you to, yeah.
Take a seat, Valdez.
Yeah.
Shut up.
He's very upset. He's not happy with you. Not amused. Oh.
Oh,
He
thought about saying
Yeah.
something and then he did. Yeah.
Not worth
He
time.
saw that we were listening. He's like, actually, no. Shaking his head. He's dumb English casters. This is actually really sad, though, to go from like the very jovial, animated side of DRX and then go over and
Yeah, and
Gorilla.
I wonder what could obviously be causing that, because we are still very early into the season, and typically booms don't really happen that would then be so visible like when they come on stage for teams. That we've seen that historically in the past, when you can tell that something is not right just by the atmosphere that surrounds a team.
Yeah.
And
as far as I can tell, guys, by the way, this delay is being caused by Keria, who I do not see on stage. Maybe a little bit of a Valdez issue. how
Oh,
this
bathroom
is, yeah.
movement? Yeah, let's not do this.
Sorry, I'll
no.
try not to leave you alone today.
You did have another burrito.
So
I did.
It's not the burrito.
It's the burrito.
It's definitely not the burrito.
I'm gonna get the solo cast on again, which I'm doing.
Rogue Survivor.
Or I'm planning to do this weekend on my co-stream.
Really?
I am.
You're gonna cast some games?
The LCS.
You're gonna cast the LCS?
I'm gonna try, see how it goes. Everyone knows that the real LCS is the LCS.
The LS Crowny and
LS Crowny and Sanchovies, yeah. Sanchovies' birthday today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, very...
Phil's birthday, man.
Yeah, Phil's birthday, man. True.
Yeah. Hope he's out there listening.
Well, I think that coming into tonight's match, I'm actually curious to see if we'll see any new picks, because again, this is 10-12.
Yeah.
And really, Summit doesn't strike me as the type of player who would want to play Volibear. And Volibear should be a counter pick only champion. Yeah. So if anyone is going to... Well, DRX might just actually blind it, thinking that he's blindable. He's really not blindable. And apparently, Keria did have a stomach problem, and he was checking with the medical staff. Now he's back now. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But truly, Valdez is... a
little bit of a Valdez issue there. I actually had a brief talk with Keria recently. Very kind guy.
In English or Korean?
Both.
Okay. He speaks English?
A little bit, you know.
Really? Okay.
We exchanged pleasantries, took some pictures, you know, and I mean, I think he's definitely one of the best, if not the best supports right now, and will be interesting to see how far this player can go.
Well, we'll see what he can manage to do here. Last time he had stomach problems, he ended up getting a double player of the game, Valdez. So,
whoa.
Could be a foreshadowing of what's to come, yeah. He just can't really contain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Keria is definitely the kind of player to come out here against a team that they should beat and just style all over them. He's not the type of player to, you know, take it easy or play down to their level. So, definitely expecting some fun stuff from our young support.
And I'm not expecting anything. So, going back to 10-12 picks and what we could imagine here, Volibear is more likely, I think, to always just come out from DRX than it would be on Sandbox. I think the champion is hot garbage. I've been pretty vocal about that. And he can be okay, but again, I feel like the stars sort of have to align for that to happen. And while he has been having some success in LCS and even LEC, he's had some success there. You really go in and you look at the context surrounding that success and, well...
No, we don't look at context. We only look at the champion LS. That is the way the stats work. But seriously, now we're going to get into the pick ban. DRX up against Sandbox. And let's see how this one pans itself out.
Well, DRX are going to open with the first ban here, as they're actually taking a bit of time when deciding on this. Okay. It's going to be the Callista getting banned away. Sandbox instantly respond with Ezreal. And obviously, Aphelios, another champion that we do have to consider as a champion that Sandbox could ban away. And Syndra now going to get removed from the table.
Varus is banned 100% of the time on red side here in the LCK. So they're kind of showing face up.
Karma?
There are 2 bans already.
Karma could get banned here by DRX, or maybe we even see something like Wukong or Set, as those have been pretty traditional bans so far here in LCK Summer. Sandbox will likely end up going with the Varus as the last ban, so there's the karma.
If you don't ban Varus here, you're doing something wrong. Just going to throw that out there. Every single team here in the LCK at least, and it might even be global, has been banning Varus every single time, and, well, okay. They're going to leave it open, and Set is going to get banned. Varus immediately picked up, and that will be our first Varus pick here in the LCK.
Sometimes I actually like stuff like this when the meta has been stagnant for a very long period of time. You can actually make a play assuming that the opponent in their scrims and in solo queue and stuff have not been practicing the champion. And historically, when there's been certain metas with difficult to play champions, like Camille or even LeBlanc at certain points, that can have a lot of player expression and skill, that can be very interesting. Because if you're out of practice on those type of champions, you mess up some combos, you mess up some inputs and stuff, and it can really be a little bit scary, and maybe teams even become afraid to play it. Varus is one of the most turn-your-brain-off champions that actually exists.
Doesn't apply here.
Doesn't really apply. As Sandbox, they're going to respond R1, R2, Senna Trundle. And the thing is that Varus actually came into the meta as an answer to Senna, because his long range outranges Senna's long range, and Senna came in against Aphelios because Senna could outrange Aphelios and outscale him, and then entered Varus because it was the triangle, right? It was MF Senna and Varus, or I'm sorry, MF Senna and Aphelios, and then Varus entered as a means to answer Senna because Senna was causing the other two problems. So, not really quite sure where we're going here on this one.
Doesn't quite line up for Sandbox's draft, at least.
And when you pick the Trundle with the Senna, I mean, there's synergy in a vacuum with the two champions by themselves. We know that Senna's likely going to be fasting, and so we have to wait and see what champion's going to be picked there, but I already like it. I mean, DRX, Nidalee with the Varus. You're going to be playing dodgeball for the entire game, and then Azir is going to stop a lot of hard engage. And so if DRX actually just continue to draft a Protect comp right now, Protect and Poke, Hail of Arrows, it's going to be really hard for Sandbox to play this game, as Maokai gets locked in, and so really doubling down on the hard engage.
Yeah, and DRX can just target stuff that's still available, maybe Galio Wukong or something like that. You want to take away some more of the hard engage from the side of Sandbox. We see that Bard is banned here against Keria, and actually they're going to try to give Chovy a little bit of an easier lane. Take away the Kassadin.
And you can tell what Sandbox is trying to do. Both of these champions really do like Senna. And the three champions, again, in a vacuum, they're okay. When they're staring down what DRX is showing, they're not okay. Not anymore.
Not feeling good.
It's like, yeah, Charizard, that's a really good Pokemon. And then you look across the board, there's a Blastoise staring you down. It's not really looking so great. As Bard and Pyke were taken off from Sandbox, the Kassadin is a very good ban here because Kassa's very good against Nidalee and Azir. Has a lot of value there as well.
Yeah, we also do see the Wukong taken away. One of the best hard engage top laners currently. We've seen what certain players, such as Dorn himself, are able to do with splitting up those clones and knocking everybody up. As now we're looking at a Corki here. Corki Azir going to be coming to this theater.
Corki, yeah, locked in. And now DRX, if they continue to draft anything that can really just protect the Nidalee, Varus, and Azir, things go pretty well there. However, they are hovering Aatrox right now, and that's a bit worrisome. And this is definitely bizarre. We'll see what their support pick is going to be here, because the Maokai is a flex. Maokai can go top, he can go into the support, or he can go into the support role with Senna. So maybe they'll just play it super safe and go something like Thresh. No,
okay.
Gonna go Zilean. And I really like to see champion picks like this. Been pretty vocal about this over the last year and a half. Zilean, very, very, very strong. Really can't be understated. And Summit's going to try to fight fire with fire. And maybe just lock himself in the Jace. He's one of the best Jace players in the world. And so we'll see what he can manage to do up there in top lane. And also, with the Corki and Jace pickups, they do get themselves a little bit of pushback against the Varus and the Nidalee, but it's still not going to be as strong as Varus Nidalee. Their missiles, or whatever you want to call them, will be definitely packing a much bigger punch.
We're actually going to be seeing Rude playing the Maokai and Gorilla playing the Senna.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of a mix-up there. It's interesting to see that Zilean pick, too, for the player that is Keria, who has been more of a playmaker support style, but in recent times playing 3 games of Yuumi and now hopping onto the Zilean. It's a difference in playstyle, but it's just showing how deep his champion pool is and his ability to play pretty much anything.
Yeah, Keria is one of the supports in the LCK that can legitimately play mages to basically a standard of a mid laner. So it's always nice to see him whenever he goes on these unorthodox picks. On the flip side for Sandbox, Jace, Trundle, Corki, Senna, and Maokai will have to see what they can manage to do here, because the way that all of the lane setups are, DRX has a lot more autonomy inside of the game, and also for the early dragons, which can pose a very big threat come third Drake around 17 to 20 minutes. We'll have to pay attention to that timing.
Yeah. We did have the banners a little bit wrong there at the end. Root is going to be playing the Maokai. Gorilla onto the Senna here. So, just a little bit of a mix-up there. It's definitely not the expected, as generally
Look at his butt,
carry.
look at his butt.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Let the Corgi do his magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the observer's going to deny that. From
Yeah, I have
now.
no idea. I mean, this guy, what is he doing, you know?
Jonah Strong. Hello? Get up there to the mid lane.
No, not the cat. Honestly, that looks like Ditto mimicked Yuumi.
Yeah, it does.
You know
actually.
what I mean? Yeah.
Talking a lot about Pokemon recently. Are you getting excited for that new game?
Oh, I'm
Jumping ship?
I can't wait. I mean, I'm gonna go freeze on 7-year-olds.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna be like, Billy, pull the wave.
Yeah.
I hope it has voice comms.
Oh, man. So many traumatized 7-year-olds.
Why didn't you cheat a recall there, Gengar? Oh, no.
God damn it, Adam. Oh, man. Yeah, I my first thought when I saw that was like, okay, well, we've had MOBAs take it a step down from League of Legends, but how simple is this game going to be exactly? Yeah. You know, like how I'm sure there's not going to be too many mechanics.
Right.
It's going to be like, you have your champion, you press your buttons on the enemy, and that's about it, I would assume. But
yeah.
Still pretty interesting.
Well, I am looking forward to when more information comes out in it. But so far, here in this game, Trundle clears out his blue side. Nidalee making her way into the red side. Keria and Daph getting a lot of value, yeah.
I think if he had hit that, well, they don't have Ignite, but definitely could have perhaps forced a heal out of Gorilla. Not meant to be, though.
And right now, I mean, Deft and Keria, this is another one of those spots where you can look for cheaters. There's nothing preventing them from going for a cheater recall in this lane, especially not after that trade, because you know that Root and Gorilla don't have the speed to push back, and you would just get a free recall off, come back to lane with a call on the Varus. And instead, they're stacking up the wave, not really doing a whole lot with it. I mean, they are zoning Gorilla and Root off a bit of CS, and then they're going to crash the entire wave. They also have Pyosik around, and this will grant Pyosik complete freedom to go over and just get the crab, but they're going to go for a dive instead.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, first blood. Keria says hello. Zillion has very long-range CC if you can land all your abilities, and you line that up with the Varus and the Nidalee. It's not going to take too much to bring him down. And that kills Gorilla with the whole wave there. He's still level 1.
Yeah.
And it's going to be denied a whole lot of XP. We'll see how much the cannon can soak up, but still going to be pretty difficult for him.
Ooh, look at Varus's items. Executioners and double longsword. Right off the bat, Deft is not messing around. They're just going to go for the pure lane kingdom. Pyosik comes over, hops over. I have no idea what Gorilla was doing, I'll be completely honest with you. There was no reason for him to stand on the left-hand side like that and just be so prone to that combo, because even without the Nidalee, he's getting deleted, pretty much, from the lane.
He'll at least have to, you know, flash, and maybe even still he's going to die, rather.
And Doran, meanwhile, building up a very sizable minion wave.
Yeah. We don't see the Nidalee heading up there or anything like that. Just looking to push in. And Summit is actually pushing back quite a bit here. Doesn't look like... Oh, he actually might freeze. He's going to the bush. You see him pulling that wave. He's actually going to set up a freeze and force the TP out of Doran early here. Not exactly what was going on screen, but pretty interesting as Doran is forced to stay up in the top side.
Yep. Nidalee just looking for any vision that she can get. Root and Gorilla now, they're going to be forced to back up. And Root might just go for a recall. So Deft and Keria looking like they want to freeze right now. They still have the teleport available on the Varus as well. Definitely not the end of the world whatsoever. Onfleek's going to come down here. I mean, he's not finding anything, and you just see it's very hard for him to coordinate any sort of ganks with these lane setups. Azir already has the Lost Chapter. Dove is behind 8 CS, even a little bit in the EXP department as well. You can actually see the XP graph on the left-hand side that was just hovered on the screen. Nidalee very close to getting the Runic Echoes as well. Infernal Dragon might just be on the agenda here for Pyosik. Now, what Deft and Keria are going to do, they're going to take this whole bottom wave. They're going to convert this priority into Nidalee just getting the Scuttle Crab. Azir's probably going to shove in Dove here, and they're just going to pick themselves up a really easy Infernal Dragon, and there's nothing Trundle can do. And he's totally misaligned with all of his laners in terms of their lane states. So, not really sure what Sandbox is expecting to achieve here with the way everything is going.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really going to have much pressure on that Drake at all, based on what you were talking about there. The control ward goes in a bit defensively, and it is going to spot Pyosik here, but they're going to come in here with the priority, clean it up, steal the blue away. Going to make it harder for Dove to push in there, but they'll trade some blues.
Yeah.
So that one is going to go towards Onfleek. And you'll notice that Pyosik hasn't gone for the Drake just yet. Actually waiting on that one, stealing some more of the jungle away first, and then getting to work on it.
And this exchange of jungle, it only works out if Trundle actually has the opportunity to somehow dive the Aatrox, but with Deft still having teleport, Deft would be able to teleport up into top lane, and it would make it very scary for Trundle and Jace, so they can't really coordinate that. And so, while in a vacuum, Trundle and Nidalee are trading, they're not really trading, because Nidalee gets the Infernal Dragon for her team, and everything right now is just looking very good for DRX. They have the Infernal Drake under their belt. They have almost a 2,000 gold lead, and we're 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it's pure lane dominance coming in from DRX here against Sandbox, not to be too unexpected when you take a look at the two lineups that are coming in. It was fun to watch Chovy just styling on Dove. He doesn't have any boots, but he dodged both missiles that were sent his way, one of them being the big one, as he was winning the trade kind of nonchalantly there, and has taken a sizable lead in the mid lane. You'll see that a bit of a rotation is coming up towards the Rift Herald here as Keria has visited it.
So this is one of those rotations that sometimes ends up happening where you pull over your laners to make it work. So when Varus gets down into bot lane, just count the amount of gold that Senna and Maokai are missing out on. This is 2 minion waves worth. So the cannon plus the normal minion wave, almost 300 plus gold is going to be going down. And if Varus converts this into a couple of turret plate captures, then nothing ends up happening. But Root and Gorilla decide that, you know what, they're not going to go for the Herald. They make their way back down bottom, so fortunate for them. But that's always the scary thing with Rift Herald rotations, is if you pull your laners away, sometimes you actually end up operating at a net loss.
Yeah, and you see that they kind of account for that. They head down bottom side once again, and we do have Pyosik looking down towards the bot. He wants to go into the enemy jungle here and perhaps go put more pressure onto the bottom lane, as the Rift Herald is going to go the way of On Fleek, as Pyosik is not going to be in there at all. He is spotted as he clears out the control ward. He's going to steal more of that away, as Doran seems to be having a pretty decent time up on the top side, but still a nice little CS lead going the way of Summit. Ooh. Okay, looking for the bit of burst damage. I feel like they weren't really on the same page there. Had he gone for that when Pyosik was coming in, would have worked out a lot better, but not using their abilities at the same time is a bit unfortunate.
And Chovy now finally going to manage to get himself a turret plate. Okay. A Maokai ultimate coming out. And meanwhile, Doran, he is getting lane kingdom up here in top lane by Summit. And this is about what we could expect from the drop phase. Now Summit on fleek, getting all 5 turret plates and the first blood to the first turret gold. And it's going to put Sandbox within about 1,000 gold now of DRX. Drake coming up in 2 minutes. Chovy is continuing to shove in mid. We don't really have a whole lot of action, though. And so it's just Deft and Keria doing Deft and Keria things. Chovy doing Chovy things. And while on paper this is fine and dandy, and in the LCK it is gonna let them win a lot of games, it is worrisome when you realize what it could also mean. And that lanes aren't really interacting with the jungler all that much outside of that first dive, and everyone's just sort of going about their own thing. So when you're individually a lot stronger than your opposition, you get away with a lot more. And we've seen this in other regions like LCS, LEC, etc., that when it comes time for the international competitions, you can't rely on such things in order to really carry you.
Especially when, you know, going up against other regions, there's going to be a lot of times where those individual players are even better than you are for your respective region. As gonna force a casual flash with the Chains of Corruption from the Varus. Gorilla this time not wasting any time to get out of the way and get out of that one. We do have a bit of a rotation down after that top turret was taken out. Jace was visiting the mid lane, but doesn't stick around, and I think Deft and Keria should easily be able to take out all the turret plates here and gather up all that gold.
Well, it's like Deft just waiting for all the minions to die. Yeah, really trying to min-max that advantage. Already has the Yumu's Ghostblade completed for himself. Chovy almost at the Nashor's Tooth, and it's going to be another free dragon pickup. And now, third dragon of the game. If DRX rolls Mountain, things just get really, really, really sad for Sandbox. Things are really sad for Sandbox. And honestly, it's not raining just outside here in Korea. It's very sad.
Yes.
Right?
Lots of tears dropping from the sky. It isn't an Ocean Drake or an Ocean Soul, but very, very similar to Sandbox right now. Their main hope is trying to get their Jace into fights and kind of do what Smeb did yesterday and essentially just poke you out before the fight even begins. But I think that DRX are going to be smarter about not just standing there and taking it. And they can give a lot of poke themselves, so
yeah,
it's not just going to be straight up, you know, Summit having control if we go into a K-round situation. But for now, we're just going to be sitting back, relaxing.
What?
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Taking a sip of your tea. Hopefully everybody brought their tea to
I did not get any tea.
To the lull state.
Thanks for reminding me.
What else are you supposed to do in the lull state? You gotta, you know, it's like meditation.
You know what? I mean, all that I hope is that when Pokemon Unite comes out, I don't have to deal with kids B1ing Charizard, you know? Like,
what do you mean he's so good?
I'm not trying to deal with a B1 Charizard
so
or like
powerful.
an R5 Typhlosion, you know?
Oh, man. How many you think they're going to have all the generations in that game?
I don't know. Oh, no.
I hope it's not too many generations for Boomer Valdez, a.k.a. BV. They're just pushing mid. There's not really much else going on. Corki might die on the top side. Let's take a look at that. Jonah Strong, thank you. Just casually going to lose his entire health bar due to the Azir.
Yep.
But it's Corki, so he's able to clear out that wave. No big deal for him.
And right now, it looks like Summit, I mean, he's just randomly in mid lane looking for something to do, but it only works if the opponents make a mistake. So everything right now is still pretty standard. I think Nidalee's missed every spear except the first one, right? So far?
She hit the dragons?
No, I mean, well, against champions, all right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. You didn't specify. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Deft ends up being upgraded by the Zilean. This is one of the cool, unique features of Zilean, is the EXP. You know what would be an interesting impossible lane? Would be Zilean Bard. Bard just runs off and roams, collects the chimes, and then Zilean gives him even more EXP, and for some reason, the support's 3 levels up.
That sounds good. Why is that impossible? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Maybe next game. They are trying to hard engage, and it is not working out. Chains of Corruption comes out, and he loses half his health bar just to a couple of abilities from the Varus. And that hard engage that they they don't have too much hard engage, actually. They moved out of that once they picked up Jason Corki.
Yeah.
And moved into a more, pokey style, kind of mid to late game composition.
And the thing is that it's not worth losing your life over the Rift Herald here because there's no turret plates. Whoa!
That's a nice amount.
That is, yeah, that's very nice. Nidalee gonna be able to heal it all back up though. So a bit unfortunate, and that is one of the most obnoxious things about DRX's team composition is that their poke is everlasting for the most part because of Nidalee. So even though Sandbox has poke, DRX has non-active healing in the form of Nidalee. So it's very hard. Senna as well is there to sort of slow down some of the pain, but Varus and Nidalee, they hit with such a truckload of power, whereas Corki with his R is a little bit weaker. Obviously, Jace packs quite a big punch if he can manage to land his accelerated shock blast. And that's going to be the songs and a dance. So we're here with 1 kill at 17 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. And Valdez, honestly,
I don't seem too happy about that.
Yeah, I think my Tum's going numb.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to be right back.
You gotta hope my tummy doesn't start going a little bit later as this as this game comes along. Although I'm feeling very relaxed, so there's not much stress to affect it right now. And Sandbox, they're gonna make an attempt here at the Dragon. They have some decently tanky members in their lineup. They would love to get it. Doran is pretty late to this. As Pioshik is still here, he's not going to be able to steal that one, though. As DRX is going to give that one away.
Yeah, this is a really big win for Sandbox, though. Getting the Mountain, it really hurts Varus's build. Especially because Sandbox are threatening to go up to 4 Mountain Drakes, which would then just laugh at DRX. And so, a very, very big win, and almost an inexcusable give by DRX, all things considered. Certainly botching the macro here inside of this game, and oh, Pioshik.
Huh. Oh. He really needed that big grug.
Well, he ended up getting it.
Yeah. Ends up being okay for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to get a look at the replay because no one died, but it was basically Doran was like up towards Rift Herald, like the Baron pit or something. And then they were like, oh, they're just starting the Mountain Drake. I suppose they didn't expect it. And he wasn't able to get there on time, so DRX weren't comfortable engaging 4v5. They didn't aggressively poke because they didn't want to get out of position. Got some backs coming in here. They're a little bit late that time around, DRX.
Well, Keria just going to come over. We're going to charge it up, and now we're going to group up in top lane. So, not a lot really happening here inside of this game. DRX, they're finally going to get themselves yet another turret. They have a 3,500 gold lead, and okay, Doran leashing the Scuttle Crab for Summit. World Ender.
Here. Yeah, he's trying to get that movement speed. He will dodge the Senna. As I don't know really what that was.
I don't know if that was a dodge. I'm not sure. I think even if Aatrox was running in that direction, he couldn't have gotten hit by it.
Yeah. A little bit strange on the angle there from Gorilla.
Well.
He just wanted to avoid any chance of
it. Finally, maybe? No. No.
Flash exists in this game.
Yeah.
Ooh, he hit one.
We're going to have to start cheering on something else. What would you... Nice. You got the cannon.
Great.
Yeah,
oh,
wow.
Good work.
All right.
Raptors go... Oh, that was a good smite, actually.
That was a really big smite. He did get the Raptor.
Yeah.
And that actually generates EXP and gold for him.
You notice that he did it not too early, but also not too late.
Yes.
Because he didn't...
Another cannon. Nice. Well
good
played.
Work.
Well
Good work.
Played.
Okay.
Award was captured.
Yeah. I'm really happy with how active Pioshik is with his Nidalee abilities. You'll notice he's going into Cougar form, and then also out of Cougar form sometimes, but then usually back to Cougar form.
And he does that by actually using the R key.
Really?
Yeah. You can find that on your keyboard, actually, yeah.
Okay. I usually have trouble finding that one, so maybe I shouldn't pick up Nidalee. Seems a little bit too difficult for me. Well, and okay. Might have some action here. Knock up. There's the poke. And we got a kill, ladies and gentlemen. Just the one, though. Just the one. And that's it for us today. I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, seems like Mountain is going to be up in a minute, and more EXP being given over by Keria. Ends up accelerating the Aatrox in. Okay, we got some action here. This is a Baron.
Okay.
And Summit, he's going to find out the bad news real quick.
Summit Dove, they have a lot of poke.
And he can't even really go for a Shock Blast. He might end... Oh, he's going to try to steal it with the Shock Blast.
It's trying to be blocked here. There's a nice block from Doran. Goes over to the Nidalee. And here comes Chovy. Okay, that was pretty far. Had his flash. Didn't force it, though. They get the Baron.
And now they need to reset immediately for this Mountain Dragon. They really don't want to give over this second one. They end up giving over a second one. I mean, it almost invalidates one of Varus's items, which is really, really sad. And we take a look at how it all transpires. Now remember, Chovy got Trundle's flash a little while ago.
Oh.
So, player of the game right there. As we finally managed to get the second kill of the game.
Might have a little bit more, although no, Trundle is pretty good at disengaging. They do get the flash though out of Gorilla.
It's so impossible.
There's a fight down
for
the bottom
Sandbox
side.
to actually win this fight, and there goes Dove.
Dorn is gonna die here.
Yeah, he is gonna die, but DRX should be able.
It's gonna come down to the spike, and there it goes to Nidalee, and now Trundle's probably dead. They gotta focus on him. Azir, Chovy trying his best. Deft is going to finish it off as Chovy is just gonna survive here. Keria at the last second able to dump that Zillion ult onto him. And that is going to make that 4v5 into a little bit of a 5v5.
Yeah. Oh, Keria's on the hunt right now.
He's
gonna throw it. He's gonna.
Oh, he found him.
Yeah, he did. Well, Corky's just gonna Valkyrie again.
Yeah. Zillion's pretty fast.
Yeah. Zillion is pretty quick, but now they've brought the game to Soul Point. Oh, oh, oh. Ooh. Oh.
GG.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at how this transpired. So, Doron actually getting the flash out of Summit, and then handshaking the remainder of the fight. So, very unnecessary decision right there. There was no world where he actually had to go down, because he was already so successful with what he ended up achieving. On Fleek goes with the steal. You have to give him credit for that. It is the best move that he can make. Chovy is just dishing out so much damage, and then the Zillion ultimate getting such insane value. Really nice shock blast by Summit, bringing down Pioshik.
Yeah, you can see Def was aiming over the wall at the Corky in that one. Corky actually dishing out some pretty nice damage in these fights when they're all bunched up, and is able to land the big one into the back, and ends up doing the most damage in that fight overall. Funny that Zillion and Senna did the exact same at 338.
Oh, Def. Roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spotted.
Ends up missing that, and that is a pretty key flash. I mean, Dove didn't even have to use anything, just exchanged his Valkyrie. Chovy comes in here. Okay, Sandbox, they're going to flip this. And honestly, they're about to get aced if they really handshake this. I don't know.
Okay, they're going to land that Maokai ultimate into the back. The Senna ult is good too, as Zillion just going to keep Pioshik alive and say, okay, you tried to focus one guy, you're going to regret it. Because they didn't quite have the damage with Dove not around. Able to TP in there, but a little bit too late, as the turret will now go down. And it's Summit being sad, doing a lot of damage, but
yeah,
not able to carry this one.
And now they're going to... Ooh, what a nice graphic.
This is
really nice.
Cooldowns,
yeah,
I guess,
these are the cooldowns.
on Summoners.
On Summoners and Ultimates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, 2 minutes now until the next dragon. And this was just very bizarre. There's never a world where you realistically win this team fight from the way that everything's starting. You can see DRX, they just sort of hold a phalanx. You have Zillion ultimate, so it's not even like you can just burst one person down, and you know that Doran's coming. So even if they overextend, kill one member of DRX, in order to do that, you have to commit so far forward that Aatrox will just arrive and clean everyone up. I had to hiccup.
You got there.
I did have to get there. My tongue is not going numb. You're fine.
That's good.
How's your stomach?
At least for now. We're fine.
All
We're
right.
fine for now. Holding it together.
Great.
Yeah, well, they're one away from the Mountain Soul, and you'd have to imagine that DRX just gonna move over very nonchalantly and take that one away.
Yeah.
They had pretty much the perfect setup with the Maokai flank and rooting everybody, and still really not able to do much.
And, if you look at the items as well, I mean, Senna doesn't even have her first core item. She is so stunted right now, and I don't really know what Sandbox is expecting to have happen in future fights. I mean, Trundle is just doing literally nothing. He's pressing Subjugate on one person and then cosplaying Olaf. So maybe Trundle is what you turn into if you play Olaf for 200 years.
Oh god.
Maybe you eventually start growing. I don't even know.
You gain the ability.
It's like remember Halloween Town when the guy got cursed? Was his name Zeke?
I don't remember his name.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Though,
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
One reference, I got it.
I had to reference a boomer show. Here we go.
Okay. They're actually really tanky. Nice engage here from Root, trying to burst into the back line, but notice Keria holding on to that ultimate. He says, I'm not going to be baited into using it. And Chovy in the front line, just able to cut them down. Sandbox not really able to do much. Deft with some insane damage.
Yeah.
In that last one.
That, I mean, the Mountain Soul that's going to be all that she wrote. There's no way now for Jace to really soften anyone up because the shield itself will absorb everything. And Corki is not going to be able to do any damage for the remainder of this game at this point. 12% amped resistances as well. Massive for the Aatrox. And Nidalee with the Lichbane, actually, as the third item is a bit surprising. I would have just thought Athene's would have been the standard in order to just be supportive. Lichbane not really necessary with how much damage all your teammates can offer. And we just take a look, and it was a nice attempt by Sandbox. You can tell what they were thinking, what they were trying to do. They just didn't quite have the damage. Dove and Gorilla just really zoned out. Corki didn't have a box or a package opening.
Yeah.
And so at this point, just going to be a slow and steady bleed. Perhaps DRX will go super Captain Careful and try to just pick up the Baron and then look for the end of the game.
Yeah, might as well. With the Baron push, you can have some incredible siege with the composition that they already do have. That was really close. Dove almost ate a spear to the face. And yeah, we're just waiting on this one to happen. DRX not really making a big move towards it yet. They actually want to go for the fight instead, as the Root is going to come down onto Doran, and he gives Root a way out, but it does not matter. Nice flashes out of the way there from Gorilla, just to make sure he doesn't die, but that's about all you're going to get, as Chovy was really trying to style there.
Oh!
And Root should die. Yeah, nice catch from the side of Doran.
Yeah.
Makes it look really easy.
And I'm not really sure what Sandbox can hope to do here. This actually could be the end of the game.
He's so fast.
He is just so quick. It's like a homing missile.
Yeah, the power of Zillion, guys.
Yeah, with the Nidalee heals and the Dragon Soul coming in, I think that this is probably just the end.
Yeah.
Oh, Zillion ultimate, and you can tell Doran not actually trusting Keria. Wasting Zillion ult.
Oh, okay. That was a big one.
So, yeah, that's going to let them fend this off a little bit. Dove and Summit, both teleport available. Mountain Soul is really obnoxious, and I don't know what Gorilla's doing, but that was very surprising.
Trying to bait them, I guess, into it, but DRX are very comfortable in this kind of situation. I mean, you can just zone them forever, poke them away.
All right, is this what a front door is, or? I can't!
Yeah, look at Carey. He's just going to run away, flash away. He's like, I got to save my KDA. And that's the end of that one. Only 12 kills, but it was absolute destruction in the game, going the way of DRX. Kind of what we were expecting, but especially, man, after seeing the beginning of that game, I could already hear the dominoes begin to fall.
That was a very interesting front door.
Yeah?
That was,
Does it make you happy?
It's interesting. It's not every day that you get to see it. So this game effectively had no kills for the first 20 minutes. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
They opened with the kill down into bottom. They lane kingdom every lane except top, which was what we expected. On Fleek picked a Trundle jungle, and then the rest of the team composition not really super aligned, and then the laners not coordinating with the jungler, and vice versa. Trundle constantly ending up in weird spots in relation to the lane states that he would be close to. They did get the Herald, they got all the turret plates and stuff, but it's for a Jace that can't really do anything. And so, just one of the unfortunate problems they ended up encountering, and then they did get that one Mountain Drake, which we can't really excuse for DRX, given the amount of control they had leading up to it. And then they had their last hurrah at the other dragon. So, not really totally sure what they're going to be able to do. This is actually the type of dynamic where you're not going to beat DRX by just fighting straight up and trying to go toe-to-toe. You should toss the dice up in the air and try to actually just outscale them and pray that the team comp can overcome the deficit that you accrue in laning phase.
Yeah, you cannot play straight up against a team that is as good as DRX when you are Sandbox. That's really what we have seen there. DRX saw what they were doing, countered it in the draft, and put them out of their misery quick there in Game 1. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
포르키 볼 수 있거든? 뒤에 빼, 뒤에 빼.
포지션 잘 잡아야 돼.
포르키 같이 볼 수 있는 사람? 나 바로
나 볼 수 있어.
앞으로 가, 앞으로 가면 돼. 포르키 뒤에 있어, 포르키 뒤에 있어. 아, 오케이.
이거냐 앞으로 쭉 가면 될 것 같은데? 깨자 끝났어.
돼 있어.